I'm going to open up Cutfury and notice we're processing our AI models right now, our configuration files. We're checking system resources, so Cutfury adapts to the amount of processing cores, the GPU, if applicable, with CUDA cores to enable GPU acceleration for the AIs. So it'll decide which faster whisper model to use based on system resources. In my case, anything above also the medium model is unnecessary for transcribing. The large model just takes forever, and my experience and from what I've observed using it isn't any better at transcribing. And the medium is like 3 times as fast, so it's all that's really needed. So, all right, the app open, and the first thing we're going to do is load our video recording and then our audio recording. Output folder is already known based on the config, and that is always saved, so you can start the app with your most recent output folder. You have a reset selections button if you need to reset everything. It will clear all selections across the entire app, so you will have to put in a new output folder. So what we want to do is just, we want to cut all expletives, cut filler words, cut background noise such as the fan. It's going to be in the back of this video. And we want to normalize audio. So if something's too loud, it'll make it a bit quieter. If something's too quiet, it'll make it a bit louder. And these are using the filler words, the background noise, the expletives, the pause threshold it means anything longer than 3 seconds. If I'm not speaking, it's going to cut that out and splice that video back together so there's not dead air. And if there's any custom words, like if I said somebody's name or a specific bad word or an event or that I didn't want mentioned, a lot of times this would be like Brian, like some guy's name that you worked with that you don't want to expose if it were on a podcast. And it'll go in and add that to the word list. You would update that and it would be included. If we look at the console, updated words, and you can kind of track what's happening in the console over here, which is helpful. And so we'll say the next step here, after we're cleaning up the audio and doing all the mundane parts that nobody wants to do, this stuff right here alone, cutting these like pauses, this alone can take hours, and it's tedious, it's boring, it's painful. So we want to also have our intro video. So, oops, we'll have our intro video. Oops, did it again. Intro video there. We're going to insert 3 different ads, actually. So the first ad position was 1/2, half of the way through, it would insert the ad. We're going to do 1/4 of the way through, and then 3/4 of the way through. So if you have 4 different ads you wanted to insert, in this case it's all actually the same video, we're also going to use an outro. And at this point, we just loaded an unsynced .mov file and a .wav audio file. They were recorded at the same time, similar to what I'm doing now, as if this were recording, OBS were recording the video and Mixpad were recording the audio. A lot of people record those separately, and then you need to sync them together. And so what we'll do is, you can just sync files if you wanted to, and then run them through the video cut. But this is essentially a combination of both. It syncs the files, and then actually just runs them through the same pipeline as start video cut. So if your files are already synced, you would just immediately start with start video cut. And then when you're done, you can take the output, the video cut output, and start an MP3 cut. I would advise having a different output folder for the MP3 cut. So we'll start that process. We'll come over here to the console, and we'll note it gives us a rundown in order of operations of what's going to happen. It's starting the sync process. It immediately is going to use AI and apply a filter and remove all background noise, and then start syncing the files. And this process here, for those files, can take somewhere in between, for an hour video, it can take somewhere in between, depending on how much needs to be filtered, 10 minutes to about an hour. So I'll leave it recording the screen. I'll come back. I'll leave the audio recording. I'll show the length of time. And now if you wanted your full video left in, meaning you didn't want any cuts, you wanted the silence, and you were just going to edit on top of that later. So you would put 3600 if it were an hour. Obviously, 2 hours, 7,200, so on and so forth.